Hello everyone, Mr. Happy Zap here again, giving you an update on where I'm at. And where I'm at right now is in the basement. I'm getting ready to have the basement spray foamed tomorrow, and I've just finished studding everything up here, and hopefully I haven't missed anything, because once the spray foam is in, there's not much else you can do. Now I've got some cleanup to do with my wiring up in there to make sure it's out of the way, so when they spray foam, make sure all the conduits are in place. Of course, I'll have to kind of strap this back a bit. A little strapping to do just to keep wires out of the way. But I got the majority of the basement, it's all studded up. Now, even though this portion of the wall here, as you can see back in the darkness, my cubbyhole crawl space, this portion of the wall here, from that conduit right there to here and on the other side, it's kind of an inner wall. So even though they're spraying 3.5 inches of 2-pound foam in, this year I'm just going to have, maybe anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch of foam, just to kind of help cut the transfer of heat in or out of the basement. And I framed everything up here. The only portion really that won't be insulated, I guess, is going to be this little bit here. But everything else will have insulation. This will, of course, have the 3.5 inch. This will just have a skim. And then, of course, all up in my sill plate area, all the way around my cantilever. I guess they're going to have a little bit of fun trying to get their gun up there, but hopefully they can do it so I can get my R31 up there. So that's about 5 inches of foam up in the cantilever areas. I got this all the way along the back side for them to do, of course. Now I also framed in around where the old foundations came out, and you can see there as well. I framed them in so they can spray foam them as well, once again to cut down as best I can any heat transfer, cold transfer. Now once again, this portion of the old foundation, or the original foundation, will be exposed, but everything else, I mean, just that little bit and then that little bit over there, I think she'll be pretty pinned up and insulated. I mean, sure, there's going to be some cold drift in past that, but how much? Probably not all that much, because once again, this will be warm, because of course the heated basement. So I don't think I should have much problem with heat loss. Trying to keep the heat loss down to as minimum as I can. Excuse me, I know I'm getting a little bit anal on it, but hey, trying to reconstitute an old house to to have come up with the standards of the highly energy efficient new homes. So I am getting there. Now once it's spray foamed, I'll have to because I started with 2x4s instead of 2x6s, I'll be putting 1/2 inch drywall up there for the fire stop. Either that, you would have had to put in 5.5 inch Roxel, the mineral roll type of insulation there. So, I mean, cost-wise, see, 2x4 studding and sheets of drywall up there, much more cost-effective. I'll still have R20 on my walls up in the sills here. Of course, that's not cantilever, so I don't have to have the R31 up there. I just need the R20. And then, but up top here, once it's spray foamed in, I'm just going to then I will lay in the 5.5 inch bat in there, instead of trying to monkey around with putting drywall up there. So once the heating system is in, then I'm going to be doing that. So it's been a bit of work, but it's not too bad. I mean, crawling around in here, it's not your regular all the way around, full depth basement. Got lots of storage space. I got the boot to connect the inner part of the plumbing to the septic tank, so I've got that on, and I still have to put a chunk of wood across there so that I have something to screw. I'm just going to put frame drywall around that instead of plywood, just so that in case I have to get at it, I can still get at that. Yeah, so I guess, like I said, my next step will be getting I built stands for my water heater and my pressure tank over here, so I got to get them in place, and then I'll get them in to do the heating system so that I can continue, so I know where all my ductwork and everything goes, and I can continue on with putting in my pressure side of the plumbing. I'm going to have to come with a 3/4 inch line, because that's where my well comes in. So once again, the pressure tank will be right in this area. So I'll be coming up with 3/4, and then coming across this 1/2 inch here, going across, and also going across here. As you can see, I still have to connect the 3/4 there. That's for my outside taps. I got one on each end of the house. I will not be putting that through my filter system. I don't need to, because it's just outside taps, right? And so I've got that, so I have that, so it's separated. Now, once again, I'm going to be probably putting my 2 hot and cold manifolds somewhere in this area. I'm not too sure yet. Like I said, once the plumbers get their stuff done, once again, there's the intake, the exhaust, and whatnot for the furnace. And I still have to get the, as you can see way over there, maybe you can't see it too well, but for the HRV system. And lo and behold, look at that there. Doggone, stubbed down the, gee whiz, every time I stub down the rough end for the central back, and of course, that's the channel where that my doggone piping is going to come. So I don't know where the HRV is going to sit. It might end there, which will be that'll be okay. And then the HRV sits above that area. Maybe it'll stop here. I don't know, but lo and behold, look at that. I'll find out at that time if I got to cut some of it off and then worry about it after. Once again, it's just the rough end. So it's a big thing is the spray foam. Once I have the spray foam done, I can continue on here and get the rest of this little puppy, buttoned up, and start, thinking about getting moved in. Now, in this crawl space, I'm going to put this foam back chipboard kind of, that flooring you can get put down on your basement floor. The only reason is I've got to crawl around in there. I really don't want to be crawling around in cement. Now, before I put this down, of course, I'm going to go in there, give it a coat of paint to seal it, and then put this down all the way around. You can see the step. There's a step up right there, and then it continues on. And put this in here, so when I do have to crawl around in there, I'll paint that as well. I won't be, on a hard surface. And quite possibly, I don't know what I'm going to do with this section over here yet. I'm thinking of doing something funky, like actually putting in a carousel, so that I can put, tubs in or whatever, and just roll it around. Like basically, if you ever been in an old dairy barn, for some of you, something similar to that. And do that, or put some tracks down here and do a train track kind of deal. I don't know. I'll have time to think about that part of it. But other than that, so I'll give you an update once they get the spray foamed, and that should be interesting. I still have to cut off the air barrier. I guess you have to put this. I guess that's not actually like the air barrier you put on the side of the house. This is a little bit different, so it comes down, comes underneath the sill plate, and then it comes down. And normally what they would do, they'd then continue this down to the actual cement floor. And usually what they do before they pour the cement, they actually take that down, wrap it around, and they take a vapor barrier up to that point. But because I'm spray foaming, of course I've already got to cut off the rest of it, so I just got to go around cutting the rest of this off. And because I have that's red, you can see it there, the red tape. That's vapor barrier tape, because I already have underneath all the floors. I have the vapor barrier, insulation and vapor barrier all the way around and everything, of course. So the spray foam will marry up with that red tape. It will be a continuous then vapor barrier. So kind of same difference, just in reverse. That's how, I guess, when they bring it down like that, that's how good builders do it. They just don't pour the cement floor first and then do it. They actually put the two together, so you have a continuous vapor barrier, air barrier kind of deal. And, I guess more the air barrier, I guess, because if you reuse actual, then you bring that down, you were to stuff that full of Roxel or any type of insulation, actual, like, mineral wool or pink or whatever, then you still have to put a vapor barrier on that. And that's where I didn't want that. I mean, I didn't want to get into that because it's still kind of a cold foundation on the outside, and there's still I still feel a little bit of wicking there. And with the spray foam impregnated basically on the cement, there's less of a chance of that. Hopefully, I don't know. That's my story. I'm going to stick with it because it's done all the time, and it really hasn't been. I haven't heard of any problems. So. Yeah, it's coming along. They finished drywalling upstairs. Actually, maybe I'll just give you a quick tour of that while I'm at it here. Beautiful day outside. I got to spend it in the basement, but hey. So anyway, so they've come through. The drywall work is done. So this is something. I mean, they had this done in 1 week. They came in, boarded it, taped it, finished it. And there is no way I would have had this done in that kind of time frame. And that's just way too much to do, and I need to get living in here because it's coming up. It's 11 months now, basically, since I started tearing down the house, and my time frame of getting in here has gone over, way over. But that is what it is. So they've done the nice corners here, rounded corners. So that when you walk into them, you're not going to feel that sharp corner. And I guess they got these special things that I'm not used to. But in the old days, they used to bring that right down to the bottom, and I guess they had a hell of a time putting the trim around there. And so now they got nice corners. That's kind of cool. I'm not too sure if I showed you. I'll go back over here. Just give me a second. I have some filling to do around the tub surround. And once again, I got doors to put in and everything. And so I've got these gaps to fill in all the way around, top, up top, up there, and down this side. Now I was going to use Durabond 90, and well, that stuff scares me, believe me, because I mean, you get into that, and when it dries. You need a grinder to do that. So I went into my local hardware store, and they got this stuff called Sheetrock 5. And they call it Durabond 90 for homeowners. That's what the owner of the hardware store said. And he says, goes in there, patches up, it dries, it doesn't crack, but it's at least sandable. So I'll be putting that in there, and then eventually then, and then I'll run a bead of silicone all down here, paintable silicone, paint it up, and I should be good. So this U-tile went on really well, good and solid. I really had to monkey around with, I just explained, monkey around with the taps here, but they're in. Everything looks good there. And so once I have this in, I get it, and then I can start painting. And that's going to be intensive. I've got to go around right now with a Swiffer and get some cloth, and take the good old Swiffer tool right there, and basically wipe everything down, get all the dust off, and I vacuumed the dust off the floor, and wow, it really plugged the filter up in the shop vac continuously. I had to keep banging it out, but finally got her up. And then I was talking to someone at the, once again, a hardware store, and she said she just put down dustbane. And I went, oh no, there's a fantastic idea. I mean, I should have thought of that, but didn't even think about it. But next time I have a situation like that, I'll get some dustbane and do that. And then be able to sweep that up, and then you got that much less to vacuum. So, but I've got all my pot lights cut in. I've got 10 in here. Of course, I got the 2 for the down lights over the peninsula area here. I've got 4 of them over there. And of course, then for the fan light, I've got most of my switches and plugs in. It's got a couple more to put in the kitchen here, and I can energize everything. And then work away at that. Painting, I'm thinking it's going to take me a good week. And once the painting is done, then I can start laying the floor and and then I can get the glass doors in the shower, get the floor in, put in the toilet, assemble my bathroom vanity. I went out and went to Home Depot and purchased an actual kitchen type cupboards, because these days you want it a little bit higher, and it's, it sticks out another 3 inches over a regular vanity. I think that's 24 inches, and a regular vanity, bathroom vanity is about 21 and a half. That way I'm going to put in an actual kitchen type sink, single bowl sink, and that way I can utilize that single bowl sink not only for your bathroom stuff, but also because of my washer and dryer in there, it'll double as a laundry tub as well. So once again, square inch house. So yeah, the drywall, like I said, there are some things where, if you have the time, once again, and you have the skill, could I have done this? No. Even they're using some funky stuff. The seam in my at the top of my bolted ceiling, if you want to call it. They had this special corner stuff as a 45 thing. It's just got it's got like that metal insert in the center, and it allows it to. And they also did it on the walls here. So in case there's any flex in the trusses, it's not going to crack. There's much less of a chance that your drywall is going to crack, in the seam in those area there. So stuff like that I don't know about. And now I was going to put a door over here, and the guys were in here taping. They were going to put that that corner stuff on here, and I said no, I'm going to put a door on there. And now I'm thinking, oh man, I'm gonna not put a door on here, because I am going to put the that system in I was speaking of before, where I'm gonna have a platform here so I can raise it up and I go in the basement and pull it down. Because just looking here, by the time I try even going to the restores and whatnot to try and find a glass door, because it's a 34-inch door, and you just can't find anything like that. They just don't make them. Okay, you can get 36-inch, because that's not 36, and like an actual, what do they call them, 15 panel doors. So, no, so that's not going to happen. So I'm going to have to, put drywall on there, and then put the corners on myself. I got the square corners, which will go on the other side, and it's going to leave that open. And then with the platform here, just in case when people walk in, they don't go flopping down the stairs just by mistake. Because you know what happens on a really good weekend. Things like that can happen. So I want to minimize my liability there and make sure nobody gets hurt. So that, once again, that'll stay open, and it'll make the kitchen feel a little bit bigger as well. And that way I still have my natural light coming in through the window on that door. So, yeah, there's the returns for my, those are my main returns for the house, and then I got a return here for this bedroom, and then I got a return here for that bedroom, for the master bedroom here. And, so I had my painter buddy come through, and dropped off his painting stuff, because he's not really into it anymore. So I'm going around. All I know is that the Swiffer, then put on the primer, and then sand that primer very lightly to knock off. I guess it's almost like it's rough. So if you don't do that, then you'll end up with how can I put it, a rough paint job, basically. So all those small things. So I probably will find some small imperfections here and there once I put the primer on, but go around with some spackle and clean them up, sand them down, and then I can start putting on the final coat of paint. I'm going with one color because it's such a small house. Same with the floor, going all with one color, and I think it should look just fine. White ceilings, and I think I'm going to go with a really light canary yellow for all the walls. So that should make things pop. And of course, then I'm going to go with colonial trim all the way around and paint that white. So I think it should really make the rooms pop and look good. So other than that, there's my update. I guess the next update I'll do will be probably the spray foam, showing you the spray foam before I put the actual drywall up. And so until then, Everyone keep a cool tool. Mr. Happy Zap out.